Thank you. And before I start, I have to say a very, very emotional and heartfelt thank you to Britta. It was 4 years ago that we had a conversation. I was actually in California, although I was living in London. She was here. And I told her about this crazy idea. And I said, I just want to find a way to do something more for this organization. And I want it to be a cookbook. And she said, well, let's do it. And nobody had any idea how it was going to happen. But it has happened, and I believe it would have never happened if it had not been for her faith in the 5 of us and in our expanded team. We thank you. I am honored to speak on behalf of the cookbook team. It's an unbelievable group of women that came together. Tracy Craighead, Betty Ann Berg, Ruth Tyson, and Allison Ogilvy. What I'm going to share with you is not my story, but it's their story, and it's our story. And our wish is that at the end of the night, you will take some snippets from what everyone has said and from everything that you have learned, and you will share this amazing story of Women for Women with those around you. Over the period of making this book, we as a team came to feel that share means 3 things. The first thing that it is inspiration. It's the motivation to connect with someone or something. Number 2 is inclusion. It's about welcoming someone else's point of view into your space or into your own experience. And 3 is reflection. And that is about imparting to others how you have changed. Let me begin with inspiration. Back in 2000, I learned about Women for Women International's work with women survivors of war, women who most of the world had forgotten. I know I feel that I had. These were hundreds of thousands of women in places like Bosnia and Kosovo and Rwanda who were without partners, without husbands, without their own children. They had lost their friends. They were destitute, and many still are, as we're hearing. I was inspired to sign up and sponsor a sister. I was excited to think that I might help someone in one of those places know that they mattered, that they had not been forgotten. And from my little cocoon in central London, that I might touch someone's life. But what happened to me over a period of 10 years and 10 sisters was in many ways a role reversal. The women that I was meant to help and to encourage were in fact doing that for me. They were supporting me in a way that helped me look at the world differently than I had before. And as I encouraged them to stay strong and to do their best in the study program, they would inspire me with words of gratitude and hope. And sometimes they would share their pain with me. I remember a letter that I got from one of my sisters, Clementine, in the Congo, when she said, "My pain is so deep, it's unspeakable." Clearly, she felt that she had no voice. So 4 years ago, when I approached my 50th birthday, the inspiration had turned into a desire to do something significant enough that many, many more of these incredibly courageous women could have a voice. I wanted the honor of telling their story, and a cookbook would be that avenue for me. Now, there's something I will confess to you, and that is my qualifications for developing a cookbook were really, really limited. I love to cook, I love to eat, third one was, I have a really large cookbook collection. So clearly for me, inspiration was not enough to make this book happen. I needed to be fully open, and I needed to include others' experiences into my inspiration. I do believe this is the second essential ingredient of sharing. So within 6 months, I had recruited 2 very dear and very talented friends of mine, Betty Ann Berg and Tracy Craighead. And off they came on this journey with me. But they didn't really know how to build a cookbook either. However, they had become very inspired by Women for Women. They were sponsoring sisters, and they too wanted to do that bit more for the world. So together we said, look, if people in places like the Congo could stay hopeful, could develop skills, could care for their families and overcome monstrous challenges all at the same time, we could coax a little cookbook to life. And we could probably do it in about 6 months. Well, that was early 2010. So more than 3 years on, we now know what our biggest problem was. We didn't want just a cookbook. We wanted a really great cookbook. And we also wanted it to be really gorgeous. And everyone that came along seemed to think it should be very gorgeous as well. The height of gorgeous was brought along by our designer, Ruth Tyson. And Ruth has spent the last 2.5 years literally perfecting every page of that book. And when you turn the pages of Share, I guarantee you, you will sense Ruth making you feel the work of Women for Women International. And you will sense the hope of the women at work in these countries. And you will feel the rich thoughts of the contributors to the cookbook. I also guarantee you that you're going to want to go home and get cooking. Now, when Ruth joined us, she let me and Betty Ann and Tracy know that at the end of the day, girls, this book was going to be about culinary credibility. So we quickly engaged Allison Okervie, Allison was our truly brilliant food editor who was loaned to us by Waitrose. She's the amazing woman who checked every recipe. She had it tested twice, and she kept the range of food balanced. Now, once we were a team of 5, we had to decide who we were going to include in our book. Where were these recipes actually going to come from? In the end, we decided we'd search for inspiration. And we carefully selected philanthropists, activists, and humanitarians from all walks of life, whether they could cook or not. And we just let Allison sort them out in the food department. So just behind the book's inspiring foreword for Meryl Streep, you will find recipes like Nelson Mandel's crab, Peter Gabriel's cheese souffle, Desmond Tutu's exotic fruit salad, and even Annie Lennox's Scottish porridge. Now, you may not recognize all of the contributors in the book, as there are many unsung heroes, people making a huge difference in the world without the benefit of celebrity or fame or money. In fact, we're very delighted to have Chris Jackson. I'm not sure where he is, but we have a gorgeous recipe from him in the book. We also invited 20 international chefs to contribute recipes. The chefs were selected based on their commitment to sustainability, based on their respect of our planet, and how they care for farmers. because many, many women in the program are small farmers themselves. Our chefs include Jamie Oliver, Hugh Fernley-Whittingstall, Renee Redzepi from Copenhagen, and Alice Waters from California. We also have another chef from Share here with us tonight, and that's Jessie Zipcool from Palo Alto. Jessie helped us all along the way and even traveled to Rwanda with us. And she became a friend, a consultant, and if you notice in the silent auction, I believe it's lot 15, there is a California Dreamin' package, and that includes a little cooking lesson at Jessie's restaurant, the Flea Street Cafe, as well as drinks with Jessie and a few other things. But check that out and see what Jessie is offering. Now, there are also recipes in the book from the 8 countries where Women for Women work, from the women there. You can learn to make corn fritters with pineapple salsa from the Congo, beef and okra soup from Nigeria, or basima biscuits from South Sudan. Let me end with some points about reflection. What I feel, and we feel as a team, is that significant third side of the sharing triangle. When you go through the cookbook, you're going to be deeply touched by the stories from some of the most courageous women on the earth. These are women who, despite life handing them back-to-back atrocity and loss, have picked themselves up and are asking, with just a little bit of help from you and from me, to be given a chance to rebuild their lives. I remember a young woman named Peace who we met on our trip to Rwanda. When the genocide broke out, her parents sent her to Burundi where she could be safe. She lived with her aunt and uncle there, and her uncle abused her, he raped her. And finally, in desperation, she left and she made her way back to Rwanda. She got back only to find that her parents had been killed in the genocide, but she did track down her brother. She and her brother moved from friends to relatives to stay alive. And eventually, she was admitted to Women for Women's program in Kigali. Today, she is an instructor in the program. She is inspiring new students. She has poise, she has confidence, and she is someone who lives the dream that a life can change and that can be reality. And how did that happen? Someone like you, somewhere in the world, made a chair. The chairs are gone, but they made a chair available for her so that she could go through that one-year program and change her life. Silji, a woman who you read about in the book, is a woman we met in Kosovo. She came running up to us with a letter in her hand, and she said, "Please, I want you to read this. I want you to help me find my sponsor. She saved my life." Silji said she just wanted to thank her. We read this letter, we huddled around her. She clearly had been transformed. And to think that for 22 pounds a month, this woman's life had been changed permanently. And again, that happened because somebody provided a chair for her. Silji now employs 5 people and has a flourishing family, even though she's without her spouse, who she lost in the conflict, and her children are in university. People's lives can be changed. By being here tonight, you are helping make women like Peace and Silji and their families not only shine, but build a future for themselves. I can see many of you in this room glowing and reflecting on how this organization is already impacting you. You're being changed by your own support and by what you're giving back. So finally, I want to ask you to keep that reflection bright. Share with your friends and your colleagues about the work of Women for Women. The SHARE team hopes that our cookbook will provide you with a very easy tool to do just that. Invite friends around to dinner. Make them Paul McCartney's salad alongside Christiana Nunpour's roasted chicken. And of course, every time you want to give a gift in the next year, we hope you'll think about giving the gift of the SHARE cookbook. Give it... Whether it's your customers, your friends, your neighbors, it is a perfect gift for all. Not only will they be moved, but 100% of the royalties of the book and 100% of our publishers, Kyle Books, profits go to the book's life. Thank you, Kyle. I think you're over there. Thank you so much. We are moved by your generosity. Thank you all for being inspired enough to share, for being open to including the aspirations of these strong women in your circles of hope, and for reflecting on to others how your association with this truly remarkable organization has changed you, as it has so many others. On behalf of our team and the dozens of people who helped make this book happen, thank you so much for being with us and joining us on this journey.